All right, welcome back. A short break last night. We record part one. Part two is tonight. We're going to power rank our playoff teams. We are here with Commish.
And myself, Thomas. I'm doing this one on the fly, cooking. So, Commish might be talking a little more than usual, but I definitely will be giving my input.
All right, we're making chicken nuggets. Don't say we're cooking. What are you doing over there?
Meatballs, baby, meatballs.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into it. We have our teams up on screen, the breakdown of who had the most points for on the left and the records there. We have a formal request on the right there for power rankings. We're waiting to hear how much we can drool over Sean's team. Hopefully, we don't give too many people a fit over it. The power rankings, the way we're going to break it down is not based on odds to win the championship. So it will be who are the best teams right now. And we'll start that power ranking from worst to best. And then we'll go into with each team as we go what we think their odds are to win it all. So I sent my odds to win it all recently. Those odds, they break down almost like if you were to put $100 down, what would you get back? And right now, I look at worst teams, a little bit of a group. Who do you have at your number six?
So, yeah, at my number six, and I'm kind of taking into a lot of factors right now. Injuries obviously are going to play a role this week, and some guys trending in different directions. For me right now, I have Zalor coming in at the number six spot. Right in a group, I think I think the three of us are pretty similar in likeliness of winning a championship. But Jonathan Taylor has kind of been trending in the wrong way. We just lose that QB for him. I don't know if you can count on 35 plus out of Taylor on a week. I could see him more being in that 15 to 20 range. And DK Metcalf, you got DK injured. So I have Zalor at the sixth spot. I also had odds, but when I initially said mine, definitely not right. I would put Zalor at plus 600 plus. I'll say plus 650 to win the whole thing.
I also have Zalor at number six. Tough when I'm playing him because I know I'm going to jinx myself, but with his matchup this week, a lot of his guys they're going to have a little bit of a question mark. I think Green Bay's defense is strong, Seattle's defense is strong, Cleveland's defense is strong. So for me to see his matchups and know that he's already going to have Philip Rivers quarterbacked offense potentially, and then some questionable tags. I don't see him as being this week one of the top five teams. I have him in that sixth slot with odds to win it all at plus 950 for those of you who want to put money down on Zalor.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
the other thing too, real quick before we do go to the next one, is that I don't know, are the Seahawks going to do a third week of 20 plus defensive points? I don't know how likely that is.
right. I feel like they've been the number one defense, and it's hard to bet against a number one D, but if you look at who they've played, it's like who did Atlanta have at QB? Who did Minnesota have at QB? Tennessee. Like they're not going up against top guns here. So I could see where they would fall off a little bit, but again, they're not going against a top team this week. So we'll see how Phil Rivers does. So my next team, looking at the playoff picture, I have number five is T. Lucia himself. I think your team going into the playoffs has some question marks as well. CD Lamb has not been himself, and the concussions are not something to mess around with. I think Herbert's injuries are affecting him. So seeing that he's not putting up the numbers we might have expected, I thought he was a trade target at one point, and now 4 weeks straight, 5 weeks including a bye where he hasn't put up a 20-point game or even a 15-point game. So I have your team in the five slot.
Yep, I will agree there. I also have my team in the five spot. I got some tough matchups this week too. See, all three of the wide receivers I initially wanted to play, like Michael Wilson is playing great. Draws Houston, terrible matchup. CD Lamb, like you said, I believe he's going to play. He was looking good last game, but he's got a tough matchup. and then Rashee Rice going against the Chargers. That offense looked terrible last week, but I mean, the Houston does that to everybody. Um,
Yeah, and I think you have the right starting lineup. I don't see anyone that you can really plug and play unless you decide to go with Flournoy. So with White or with Wilson playing Houston, I think you have it pegged. It's going to be tough. Ultimately, if we're just talking who the best teams going into the playoffs, you're also not looking at good points for measure. So when I look at league standings, you can see 1741, your lowest going into playoffs. Not surprising having you in that spot. Who's your number four?
Well, one sec. To my defense, of course, coming in, I got hit early with like a lot of injuries. I mean, I feel like my first 6 weeks, I was down my four best players, and I lost a lot. So that's my one defense in points for. I feel like my team's getting healthy now. Um,
I'll give you
but
that.
yeah, with the squads that are left, I don't give myself an advantage really over any team that made it to playoffs.
So this one's actually tough for me. I feel like it's hard to ignore the bye weeks, but we're just talking strictly best teams going into playoffs. Uh, Again, I put 950 as the odds for you to win the championship as well. I have you neck and neck with Zach. My next team at number four, I'll go with Michael Dalton. I have this squad right. Sorry, I have to dig through the best teams in my division. This squad right here, I think that he ultimately has a lot of upside, but he needs players who have been underperforming to perform too. So Godwin, AJ Brown, Pitts, for those guys to show up and show up big, that'll help him in the long run. But I could also see where some of these guys fade back to being what they were early in the season. I don't know exactly what he's going to get out of Jacobs from an injury standpoint. So I put Dalton in the like high risk uh, territory where he could pop off and get 200 points, but I could also see a middling 120.
Yeah, so this is where I've got you coming in at the four spot. Um, I think honestly, you and Faye are pretty neck and neck there. I think that second QB slot is going to be tough. Watson doesn't get a great matchup. And I could see Puka doing well again. But I do think that, oh, excuse me, I don't know if you're going to see 30 plus out of him. Barkley could have a good game script. Um, but I don't know, like outside of last week, I didn't see them doing much. And Genti just, I think who do the Raiders have this week? I thought the Raiders were going. Oh, Philly. I mean, that defense could shut down Genti again. But Houston D there is clutch. I have you at the four. Myself, so what? Zalora said it was plus 650. I'd give myself like plus 600, and then I would have you at plus
Yeah, I'm making
400.
Vegas dish out a little more money, so I I love seeing the difference of opinion there. I don't feel like Philly's shutting down running backs, so I'm not too worried about Genty, but I do see some question marks still on my squad. So getting into your four would be Faye, or who do you have at
No,
your
my four was you. My three would be Faye.
your three would be Faye. So I
Yeah. So,
do
so I flip flopped.
I have a three as myself as well. So we do still have the bye weeks as our top two. When I look at the bye weeks coming up, I think we get a little bit of a bailout for Pharaoh because his top player, in my opinion, is questionable. And I don't know if he was going to play or not, but on a Monday night game and not picking up his backup, I feel like Pharaoh gets an absolute blessing with this bye week.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing was is like last week, Pharaoh gave you guys I don't know what your points for was compared to his, so I can't say you for sure, but Pharaoh gave you guys a chance to potentially steal a first place, finish in your division. Only scored 111
Yeah,
against
so I have about 100
Story
on
and
me this season.
okay, so if Faye could have potentially have taken that. But yeah, I do think Pharaoh is very lucky to get that bye this week. Um, he's got upside. My biggest thing was that Pharaoh's upside. He definitely has upside, but unlike Faye and Sean, like Pharaoh could give you 100 points, 110. Faye and Sean, obviously Sean more. They're every week they're going to give you 125, 130 minimum.
Sean
Um,
Blaze alert number one. I
yeah,
I think
start the
I think
counter.
my team honestly had a chance this week going into the playoffs, feeling like a number two in the power rankings over Pharaohs. When I look at his squad, I see again question marks, but it's that like ceiling floor issue. I feel like his floor is pretty low. We've been consistently putting up 120, 130. I had one down week of like 117. He just put up 111. So the floor being lower, having an injury potentially to A Chain, having high hopes for Hampton, but really he's coming off of an injury. So I am worried for Farrow. I do see the high upside as well, but the last couple games for some of these guys, 8.7 for Pickens. Bowers has just not been himself this year with that offense. So there is a low floor, and I could see why this week my team might outproduce his. Luckily, he doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I still give Pharaoh a decent sized gap over yours. Like, I mean, he's got two QBs that produce week in and week out for the most part. I think, like I would have to give him, I mean, wide receivers might be close, but I would still lean to Pharaoh for all positions, comparably. QB I'm giving him you or Pharaoh, running back I'm giving Pharaoh, and wide receiver I'm giving Pharaoh. But yeah, I mean, I do think you make some good points. I don't see Pharaoh being as like a powerhouse like Sean. Um, but like those are two guys that I wouldn't
Blaze number
be
two.
like jacked up to play.
All right, let's get into it. Our number one on the list. This is why people watch the podcast. They want to see us just put every top player and league winner on screen at once.
Yeah, Sean, like clear cut, obviously best team. We talked about it last week. I would have liked to have seen Commish take a little more from Sean to somewhat hurt that roster. But, again, I do think you got a good amount there. It's just, man, it's tough seeing that roster. I like on some of these websites, Sean's got 4 or 5 of the top 10 dynasty dudes. And then you give like he's got CMC. Like this is just it really is a power team. It's
There's a
it's going
couple
to be tough to
positions
beat.
now where you knock someone out and it's tough to put someone in. Like if you had to play a flex right now and someone got hurt, you are putting in Fannin probably,
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter when you could basically drop two guys off your roster and still put up 150.
I
So
think there was one week, or like 2 or 3 weeks. Sorry, I was gonna say. I think like a few weeks ago, Sean's 3 wide receivers outscored Cloutier's team. Just his 3 wide receivers.
yeah, I believe he had a zero out of Amon, and that was the only week that he wasn't top three since early in the season.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean,
Sean's the number one. I've been skimping on odds, the odds that I gave everyone for winning it all for those betters out here. I have a plus 950 for our bottom three teams, and at the time I had put myself in there. I was given plus 550 for Faye as the three slot, and then plus 115 for Sean. So still plus money just based on the crapshoot that is the playoffs. And then I think ultimately I ended up with plus 300 for Pharaoh. So for me, smart money is going on one of those long shots, but I do think I'm going to hedge with a plus money on Sean ultimately.
yeah, I would still have Sean at like minus 110 just to deter anyone from hopefully wanting to bet on Sean if I actually was giving people, the choice to bet. So I'd go Sean minus 110. I think I'd give like Pharaoh plus like 250 a right there at like plus 350. I do think that buy obviously comes into play. I'm going you at plus 400, myself at plus 600, and finally Zalor at plus 650.
Yeah, and take those odds for what you will. Here's the bracket so everyone can watch as that progresses. Being on the Pharaoh side of the bracket does feel a little bit better, but good luck to you this week. I know I'm betting against you. I got Cody's bet on the other side, so good luck, Dalt. We got this.
Yeah, I mean, your side of the bracket, come on, that's I definitely would say that mostly because of the shine. But I love these matchups. I think both matchups are going to be good. I'm trying to defeat Faye after losing to him last year in the first round, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to it, kid.
All right, I'll see you in the ship.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure.